What is going on, Phillies fans? Welcome back in. We have another episode of the Cherry Pinstripes podcast here. And if you are watching this podcast from Baseball Today, welcome in. My name is Shelfie. We do a weekly Phillies podcast here through John Boy Media called Cherry Pinstripes. Got my guy Dre in the producer suit. We're ready to roll today. All-Star Game is coming up soon. But also, side note here, Baseball Today fans, if you haven't seen it already, our guy Brandon Marsh was on Rose Rotation. Need to go check that out. Our guy Brandon Marsh doing a little podcast with Chris Rose. Apparently, Bryce Harper was his favorite player growing up. So he's playing with his idol right now. That's pretty cool. Like I said, we have the All-Star Game coming up next week. The Phils just took 2 out of 3 in Chicago. They dropped 2 out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves. We had Michael Mercado go 2. Pitched the first game in Chicago, the last game in Atlanta. He had the really good start in Chicago. Trey Turner hit a home run out of the stadium. We had that moment with Kyle Schwarber post-game where he bumped him up to the front of the line, seeing the leadership from some of the guys that aren't in the lineup right now. We got the finalized rosters for the All-Star Game have come out. We're going to see Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Alec Boehm starting on the infield, and then Zach Wheeler, Ranger Suarez, Jeff Hoffman, and Matt Strahm will be a part of the pitching staff. No Christopher Sanchez, unfortunately, did have a bad last start right before they wrapped up the roster, so we're going to see Tyler Glasnow and Logan Webb wrapping up the All-Star Game rosters. Alec Boehm, sidebar here, will be doing the home run derby. Derby Boehm. It's not his first home run derby, though. We'll get more into that in a little bit. There's been a lot more trade rumors swirling around the Phillies again on social media this week. It's been a lot this season. I feel like the last month, there's new names getting thrown out all over the place. Obviously, they're talking to GMs. Something big might be right around the corner. And, of course, we have the Dodgers and the Oakland Athletics coming in this week. We have a 6-game homestand before the All-Star break. We're going to get Zach Wheeler versus Bobby Miller in Game 1, Christopher Sanchez versus Gavin Stone in Game 2, and then Aaron Nola is going to be going up against. We don't know yet. It's to be determined for the Dodgers in Game 3, and then Oakland's going to come in for 3 as well. The Phillies still currently have the best record in Major League Baseball, the best record in the National League. But with the Dodgers coming to town, I do want to note, the Dodgers are leading the National League in every offensive category. And the 2 guys they have lined up to pitch in this series, Bobby Miller and Gavin Stone, are very, very good young pitchers. Bobby Miller's ERA won't reflect his stuff. If he comes out and he's feeling his fastball, he's tough to hit. And then Gavin Stone, brother of John Boy Friend, shout out Colin Stone. Gavin's having a great season with the Dodgers. He's 9-2 with a 3.02 ERA. He's gross. So this is going to be some fun matchups. I like the 3 guys we have lined up here. This could be a potential playoff preview right here. Maybe even an NLCS preview. We'll see. I'm really excited about that. Phils are still up 8 on Atlanta, even though they did just drop 2 in a row to the Braves. But coming up right now for the Phillies, they've been holding tryouts the last couple of weeks. Lot of injuries for this team. JT goes down. Harper's out of the lineup. Schwarber's out of the lineup. Trey was out of the lineup for a while there. They've been hosting tryouts. Johan Rojas, David Dahl, Christian Pache, Rafael Marchand, Cody Clemens, Edmundo Sosa, even Michael Mercado. What are the roles going to be for these guys in the back half of the season? What are the roles for these guys going to look like in the playoffs? We talked about the rumors with the trade mill. The Phillies are definitely going to make an adjustment to this roster, and they have guys coming back. We're going to see Kyle Schwarber going tomorrow. He's back for the Dodgers series. They say that Bryce Harper could be back by the end of the week. They probably would like to see him get a game in before he's in the All-Star game. You don't want the All-Star game to be your first game back. It's a little bit weird. So we're most likely going to see Bryce Harper by the end of the week. So a lot of these guys, the at-bats are going to start going down now. We haven't seen a whole lot of Edmundo Sosa since Trey Turner came back. You're going to see these outfielders start getting less and less at-bats. So decisions are probably coming now. The tryout period is coming to an end. The second half of the season, this team's going to start trying to lock in consistent lineups. They're going to start getting ready for October. They're going to make this splash with the roster, whether it's a huge move or a small one. Is David Dahl still a part of this? Does Christian Pache get DFA'd? The rumors lately on social media still seem to be leaning outfielder. We've seen them apparently are in on Brent Rooker. They've been rumored with Cody Bellinger. Apparently they're keeping an eye on Jazz Chisholm down in Miami. I will say, center field, obviously, we've been talking about this the last few podcasts. It's an obvious area for them to improve. But I never thought I didn't think this many names would make sense, because you can slide Brandon Marsh over to center field, which means you can add a left fielder and make that work. this has gotten out of hand. Luis Robert's going to cost you a lot. Brent Rooker might cost you a lot because he's under team control until I believe 2027, but he's not a good defender. He really, at best, you want to get him in the DH slot, which he wouldn't be doing in Philly. You're going to have to put him in left field. Brandon Marshall plays center. So I don't know where the value is there. Cody Bellinger probably won't cost you too much because he just signed that contract, but do you want to take on that contract? Jazz Chisholm, kind of like Brent Rooker, has years of control, so that's probably going to... What do you want to do here? Are the Phillies going for it? Are we all in? Like, are we making a huge trade? Is Aiden Miller or Andrew Painter on the table? Does this team have untouchables, or are they going for it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you're listening to this on YouTube, let me know in the comments. If you're listening to this on a social media clip, what do you think? Should they have untouchables? Should they go for it? If they can get someone like Taylor Ward, who has become my favorite target now for this team, if you can get a Taylor Ward or a Brent Rooker without giving up one of the guys at the top, it is a match made in heaven. But I am a little bit concerned that we've been hearing these rumors for like a solid month now that maybe the Phillies don't love the price range. Maybe they don't like the price. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting it out. We've been having all these opportunities for at-bats with the guys that they have in their own clubhouse right now. Maybe they just wanted to wait it out and see. We got Schwarber coming back this week, and all of a sudden the rumor mill's heating up again. The day before Schwarber's back in the lineup, the rumor mill's heating up again. David Dahl didn't have a great last couple of games here. Christian Pache hasn't homered in like 150 games. If Johan Rojas can become your utility outfielder on the bench, this team, as the days go by, might be getting closer and closer to pulling the trigger. I've also heard and seen some rumors on social media that they are at least keeping tabs on some bullpen as well. They may not need bullpen. Apparently, they've kept tabs on Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott's an interesting one, though. I would like to see them get like a nice little depth reliever just to add a little depth for the bullpen. I feel like the back end is figured out. But when I saw the Tanner Scott rumor, it got me thinking that is a great fit, because then you can put him in that ninth inning, use him and Jeff Hoffman the same way you're using Alvarado now. But then Jose Alvarado, you can go to him whenever you want now. You can go to Jose Alvarado in the fifth. You can go to him in the sixth. If that third trip through the lineup is feeling a little shaky, you don't have to go to Sir Anthony Dominguez. You can go to Jose Alvarado now. And then you still got Strahm, Hoffman, and Scott in the back end. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, you know what? That one actually intrigues me in the reliever department. I was more, give me a Hector Neris or a Pete Fairbanks. Don't let it cost too much. But Tanner Scott is a great fit. So we'll see what the trade deadline is looking like for this team. There's so many names in the mix right now for the Phillies. I don't know if I'm a fan of giving up the big guys. I think the Phillies are in a great position right now to be good for a long time. I get it, and I've seen it on social media. Zach Wheeler's making a ton of money now, but it's only for a couple of years. Schwarber's got 1 year left. Castellanos has 2 years left. These guys are going to be gone. In 3 years, this team will look way different, but Bryce Harper will still be here. Trey Turner will still be here. Aaron Nola will still be here. Ranger Suarez is probably still going to be here. Christopher Sanchez is still going to be here. I don't think this team should get in a position where they don't have anything in the farm in 3 years. They have a core that's going to be here for a long time. They're losing guys, but you can fill a corner outfielder. The same way you went out and bought Nick Castellanos, you can buy the next Nick Castellanos when he falls off. Maybe Justin Crawford's the guy. Maybe you don't have to spend money. And I think that's something Phillies fans have gotten used to. Over the last 20 years, they really haven't hit on that many prospects. They're few and far between. And the big ones have been the Aaron Nolas, the layups. I don't think we're used to this, having 5 guys in the top 100 of their minor league system. And that's not counting George Clausen, who we've been a big fan of. Sam Aldahiri, the Italian kid, looks great. They have like 7 or 8 names that they could realistically use. So we'll see how it goes. The Phillies are looking great, and I love them being a part of all these rumors because it means that they are in the mix for the World Series. Now, this all-star trip that we have coming up, like I said, we have Zach Wheeler, we have Ranger Suarez, we have Matt Strahm, Jeff Hoffman are going to be the pitchers, but Zach Wheeler is pitching Tuesday, Sunday this week, so he's going to be inactive on the all-star roster. Opens up a spot. Maybe Chris Sanchez does slide in there and get put on the roster. Who knows? He did not end up making the team, though. He finished the first half with 97 innings, 2.69 ERA, only 82 strikeouts, though, which is where there isn't the flair. You don't want the flair. Tyler Glass now, I think, has a 3.4 ERA. He's got 145 strikeouts in 110 innings. My goodness. Same with Logan Webb. He's thrown 120 innings already. That guy's just a dog. Got to put him in there. But Christopher Sanchez maybe slides on the roster. Trey Turner will be starting, and shortstop is another position with the National League that I thought was super interesting. The players voted Mookie and Ellie. Ellie's having a phenomenal season. He's on pace to steal 70, 80 bases right now. Steal second and third at ease every time up there. And when you go through the league, it's not just them. CJ Abrams, you could have thrown CJ Abrams in there too. Not to say Trey Turner doesn't deserve it, but man, going down the list at shortstop in the National League was a lot of fun. You look at a guy like Francisco Lindor this season has a +3 WAR already. 15 home runs, 16 stolen bases. You know he's a good defender. 120 OPS plus. He's like the fifth guy. He's like fifth. It's crazy. National League looking crazy stacked at shortstop. I mean, even a guy like Willy Adames, when the ballots first came out, he was in the mix as well. He's had a rough June, so he's not really there anymore. But, when the ballots first came out, it was like, oh, I don't even know what to do right now. And then our guy, Alec Boehm, who's doing the home run derby. I want to talk about this because I had the same reaction you had. I know you did. What are we doing? It feels like Chase Utley all over again. Short swing, line drive guy, Alec Boehm. What are you doing in a home run derby? Let's take a step back. Let's do what I did. Let's take a step back. Hold on now. Alec Boehm is 7 foot tall. He's a huge human. To be specific, I think he's 6'5". He has won a home run derby before. So Alec Boehm, when he was at Wichita State, 2016, playing for the Wilmington Sharks of the Coastal Plain League, hit 12 home runs in the final round of a home run derby. In just one round, hit 12 home runs to win that derby. So he's done this before. And I was reviewing the film. This Alec Boehm that I'm watching right here in the home run derby is not the Alec Boehm that's swinging live in a game. This man is opening up. He is pulling the ball, and I think Alec Boehm might be a sneaky good play in the home run derby. He seems like he has a batting practice power swing. And some guys have that. They keep it in their pocket. People don't know this. Ichiro Suzuki put on a show at batting practice. That guy used to hit second and third deck home runs. Some guys can just flip a switch and put on a little show. Maybe Alec Boehm has that in his back pocket. He did it at the college level, so I'm intrigued. It'll be unfortunate if he gets matched up with Pete Alonso in the first round, though, and then the balloon just gets popped. But I'm excited to be down in Texas because I guess we will be down in Texas, by the way. I'll be at the Home Run Derby with the rest of the John Boy Media crew, by the way. Make sure to come hang out with us if you're in the area. Trevor Plouffe, Chris Rose, Jake, Jimmy, Joe's, BBD. We're all going to be hanging out down there. I need a Philly to cheer for. I got it. I'm excited for sneaky Alec Boehm in the Home Run Derby. And also this weekend, this is Bryce Harper's first All-Star game with the Phillies. Doesn't sound right. He won an MVP, but the Phillies like to do this thing where they win MVP and they don't make the All-Star game. Jimmy Rollins did that too. Won the MVP, wasn't in the All-Star game that year. Incredible second halves, put the league on notice. Bryce Harper had a couple tough starts when he first signed with the Phillies. COVID year. Hasn't made the All-Star team yet. But he's going to be on first base. And I was thinking about this before we went live today too. Bryce Harper's kind of set himself up with this transition to first base where he's probably going to tack a couple. He's got a surprisingly, I think it's 7 All-Star games, but he's only actually played in 4 of them because of injuries and whatnot. He's not in the All-Star game every year like you would think. But I think he's going to go on a little run here. He's kind of inserted himself as the best first baseman in the National League now. No disrespect to Christian Walker, who I think should have made the team over Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, of course. But he has solidified himself at first base, and I think he's going to go on a little run. And as someone who grew up watching Ryan Howard get blocked from the All-Star game by Albert Pujols and Prince Fielder, I'm excited for this little run that Bryce Harper's going to go on. So, again, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you're coming over from the Baseball Today podcast, we do this every week, just recapping the Phils, talking about headlines. I'm getting excited for the trade deadline. We will be back the week after the All-Star game. Should have lots of fun stuff to talk about. We got a 6-game homestand. We got a bunch of guys playing in the All-Star game, and I'm going to be hanging out with everybody out in Texas. So subscribe. If you're on Spotify, follow. If you're on social medias, hit that follow, subscribe button, like every week here at Cherry Pinstripes. I'm out. Have a great day.